Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. Sunday baseball action. We've got the Tigers and the Red Sox doing battle. Ken, Tigers, you know, this is a team that's supposed to run away with the Central Division. They're, you know, in first place as they should be. They haven't run away and put the division away, but they're starting to open up some ground.
Yeah, they got the best record in the American League. They and the Oakland A's right there neck and neck, but again, it's the one division where, well, actually, you know, two divisions where you have a little gap. The AL East, I mean, everybody mired in mediocrity there, so don't know what's happening there. But Detroit, you know, they're getting one of their star pitchers, Anibal Sanchez, off the DL, had that lacerated middle finger. You know, who knows? We get a lot of those back in the East Coast. You know? Using those a lot more than they do out west, that's for sure.
Tuesday night, you were getting quite a few of those.
You lacerate that
sucker?
Yeah. Good stuff.
You look at Boston, and you know, obviously last year the dream season that they had, winning the World Series and everything. Do you think this year that what we're seeing from them is just a little bit of the natural letdown after the World Series?
No letdown for Ortiz. Everybody else maybe a little letdown, but Ortiz is just hitting like a king. I mean, he is on fire right now, 11 home runs already, and Pedroia starting to pick it up a little bit because he was struggling a little bit, and still the power number is way down for Dustin, but starting to get the average up a little bit. And I expect Boston, the way the rest of the AL East is playing, to kind of, you know, get in first place within a little bit. The Yankees, Tanaka's been great, but again, can't expect much else from that pitching staff. And Baltimore, they just got swept 3 by Detroit at home. So Toronto, we talk about them. They've got some bats in the lineup. If Encarnacion can get going to help out Batista, they can make a run. I mean, it's there. And Tampa Bay, you know, without the pitchers that they've lost, too much pressure on Price. They need a couple other people to pick it up. Dickey's kind of picked it up a little bit. So, you know, that AL East is still up for grabs.
It's like the AL East, if you take pieces from each team, like one team can hit, but Toronto,
right,
they got no pitching. You know, you've got Tampa that does have pitching, but they got some injuries right now, but they can't, you know, put the pieces together. You could have some pretty good teams in the East, but there's no complete team right now. And like you said, we're going to end up probably only with one team coming out of the East. You know, the wild cards are probably going to come somewhere else. I think the AL West has some better teams. The Angels are starting to play better. Oakland, the job they've done, you know, the last couple seasons, just amazing. And they don't drop off. They lose a couple starting pitchers at the beginning of the season, and they don't miss a beat. And that just goes to the farm system and the organization in whole. But in this one here, the Tigers, when those bats start going, and the other night I was on them in a game, they were losing 1-0 going to the 9th inning. You know,
That's a crazy story, because I was literally sitting next to Bernie Fratto, and Bernie from Detroit and covered the Tigers for a long time. And by the way, earlier in the video, everything going through my head, and sometimes Tampa and Toronto, they get on my mind. So hopefully I didn't say Dickey for Tampa Bay, because I know he's Toronto's ace and Price is the ace for Tampa. But I'm not sure.
I don't think you made a mistake.
Okay, so if I did, forgive me there. But where were we now?
We're Bernie Fratto.
Bernie Fratto. Oh, yeah. So Bernie says he needed Detroit for a parlay because he had St. Louis and Detroit. And he goes, we're down to our last out. We got, you know, tying run is on. And Miggy Cabrera's up. He goes, maybe he can earn that salary. I go, he can't earn $292 million. I don't care if he hits a home run. Sure enough, next pitch, he goes, he just jacked one. And then they followed that up with Martinez hitting a home run, and they won the game 5-1. So he ended up getting his parlay. But that's the same game you had.
Yeah, I had that game that night, and I tweeted out another easy winner, and somebody had to tell me it was the bottom of the 9th and 2 outs. And I said,
top of the 9th.
He tweeted bottom of the 9th, and I go, it was the top of the 9th, but who's counting?
Right. It was bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, and then Martinez hit the back-to-back home run after the 3-runner.
All right, Ken, you know what? This is your free play. Let's make it official.
All right, let's do it. All right, and I'm going to go with Detroit. Sanchez, and I checked with Marco when I got here. I already had the play, but he likes to take a good pitcher, off the DL in his first start back, and I think Sanchez maybe got a little extra rest, finger good to go, and 12-3 Detroit in their last 15, 4-1 in their last 5 against Sanchez. I like him. He didn't start out the season great, but he's a guy that if he gets going the way Porcello's pitching, I mean, Detroit, look out. I know Verlander got roughed up a little bit, but still came up with a W, and I mean, this pitching staff is loaded, especially with Scherzer leading the way. Victor Martinez, what a year he's having right now. 9 homers, 23 RBIs, but hitting .336 leading the way. Kinsler at .303. Then you got Torrey Hunter, 298. Miggy's at 295. Rajai Davis, he's a table setter. He's big because when he hits for average, that means he gets on base. What does that mean? It means he could steal bases. Has 13 stolen bases, hitting .292. Austin Jackson, 276. So really, Castellanos, 230. And then Avila and Romine, the only 2 guys that are actually weak as far as that are getting in that starting lineup. So, again, a lot of good bats there for Detroit. And when you have that type of pitching, you're going to take care of business. I expect them to pepper the monster a little bit. Why? Because Jake Peavy is not pitching that great. This will be Sunday Night Baseball. And Peavy, in his last 10 1/3, has given up 9 runs, all earned, 13 hits, 6 walks. That's not going to get it done. A whip just under 2. He's allowed 8 home runs this year, and Detroit's got those bats that can take the ball deep over the monster or down by Pesky's pole. So we'll see what happens there. Ortiz, like I said, he's been the bright spot. 11 homers, 25 ribbies. Pedroia up to 286. That's good news. But again, only 2 home runs, 13 ribbies. Napoli down to 265. Bogarts 260. Then you got Bradley 212. Przinsky at 262. Victorino, he's back now, but he's only played 15 games. They need his bat. Middlebrooks at 200. Gomes at 225. They need those guys to pick it up. So give me Detroit. I'll take Sanchez. Again, first start back off the DL. Peavy struggling in his last 2 starts with the 9 earned runs. Give me Detroit. I'm going to take them. They're playing 650 baseball right now. That'll get it done most of the time. And I'm going to probably get right around even money, I think. I think you'll have Peavy minus 110, 115 because they're at home in Fenway. And he's been pitching, but because he's been struggling, Detroit, they've been playing good ball, probably right around plus 100, plus 105 for Detroit.
Yeah, and one of those things with Peavy, he's one of those guys that's a name pitcher. So when you get a name pitcher start to struggle a little bit, the public's slow to react because they're still living on the name and you're getting them priced on that name. And just to elaborate a little bit on the injured coming off the DL, that's a situation I like because for me, that pitcher's focused when he comes back. The longer that he's on the DL, the more I even like it because he has to work that much harder to get back to the major league. So right. When he takes the mound, it's a totally focused effort, and he's going to be looking at things, be pumped up to try to get things done. So it's a nice angle that I like, and especially with a quality pitcher. And Sanchez has good stuff. When he's on, he's got good stuff. So
no doubt about it.
There you have it. Ken says to take the Tigers on Sunday Night Baseball, and looks like a good play from Ken. That's going to wrap up our videos for this week as far as the sports goes. Be sure to check back. Going to do double duty today. I'll be back in studio in a couple hours here with our buddy Chuck Edel. We're going to be breaking down the Preakness on Saturday, so we'll have all of those videos up as well. And, of course, Fezzik and the gang will be in on Tuesday. You can check that out, the Tuesday crew. And, as always, stay tuned to pregame.tv for all of your betting needs. We'll keep you informed. He's Ken Thomson, SportsX Radio, and Marco D'Angelo. Good luck this weekend.